4 months ago, I made a video about a certain person that I would like the Detroit Lions to look at as far as helping out the edge rusher position with Aiden Hutchinson. You know how I feel about edge rushers. I don't feel like we have enough, and I don't think you can have enough. And I think for us to really go the distance, we're going to need to put some bodies on that defensive line, but not just anybody, somebody that can make a difference. And I saw this the other day, and I wasn't going to talk about it because I know you guys are tired of the trade proposals and all that stuff, but I think that they're going to do something at the trade deadline. That Brad Holmes feels like this move could take us maybe the distance, help us compete and beat the 49ers and Eagles and such. But I saw this the other day, and this is from Bill Barnwell with ESPN. He had a trade proposal for the Detroit Lions, and I think that I wouldn't put this like say it couldn't happen because of the history that we have with this particular team. But here's what he had to say for the trade proposal. Lions get edge rusher Danielle Hunter and a 2024 fifth-round pick, so that would be next year. Vikings get 2024 second-round pick coming up this year, edge James Houston, and a 2025 third-round pick, which will be a conditional pick. Here's what he had to say. Hunter is probably the best player with a realistic chance of being moved by this deadline. He's talking about the entire NFL. The 28-year-old standout has 6 sacks and a league-high 9 tackles for a loss through 5 games this season. He landed a 1-year, $17 million deal after a hold-in this summer, but with free agency looming and the Vikings repeatedly reticent to offer him a new deal, he is likely to leave the organization in the offseason. And that's something that a lot of these organizations don't want to happen. So it's with Brian Burns, Chase Young. They'll all be free agents after this year. Now, my thoughts initially on Danielle Hunter, I've always thought he was a dog with the Everson Griffin and things like that. But is the hold-in, do we want a guy like that on our team? He got his money, he played, but at least he came to training camp. Chris Jones, however, didn't do any of that stuff. He did not play until he got paid. So that was my only kind of concern about this. Would I want to do that? I would say no. Hunter is on an expiring contract, and you're talking about James Houston, who has promise. You're talking about a second-round pick and a third-round conditional pick for a person that's essentially going to be a 9-game loaner. Now, if you were to potentially insure a contract several years out of that, then I think I would have to consider that. I know you guys love James Houston. I don't dislike the guy, but even at 20, I want to say Danielle Hunter is 29. He's about to be 29 in 2 weeks, I believe. I still think he's better than James Houston. But let's take a look at his stats he's spent his entire career with the Minnesota Vikings. And yes, he turns 29 the day before the trade deadline. So that would be quite interesting if he were to be dealt. But let's look at his stats. He has never had less than 6 sacks in his career. He has coming off 4 multiple double-digit seasons, 14.5, 14.5, 12.5, and most recently 10.5 with a 6 wedged in between that. So he still got the ability to do what he needs to do, getting to the quarterback, and I think that Aiden Hutchinson can use the help. Now, if we look at his salary, which was already stated, the cap hit situation for the Minnesota Vikings would be $20 million with the dead cap of 35. Now, I'm not sure if that applies now with the season being halfway over, but I don't have to worry about that. We can see that later. So would I love Danielle Hunter? Absolutely. Even if Brad made a move for him, I would have to assume that he trusts that his gut or he can figure it out as far as the future for. I don't think a loaner will be in any case, whether it's Chase Young, Brian Burns, or anything. Would I be mad at this? I would not. Even if we traded away James Houston. I mean, this guy is going to be legit for at least the next 2 or 3 years. We could give him a contract through his 31st birthday, which would put us 2025, and then we can move on after that. So I probably would minus 1 pick though. I would have to say I'll give you your 3rd-round pick. So I'll give you the TJ Hawkinson pick to come back to you. You can take James Houston, and I'll give you maybe a conditional 3rd-round pick. That sounds like something I would do, but that was only if he was going to be around for the next 2.5 years. Again, I'm not taking a loaner for anyone this year, even if unless you're talking about Super Bowl. That's it. Guaranteed Super Bowl. This person is going to help us win it. Then we can have a discussion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Danielle Hunter, and even if you put a trade package together yourself, would you want the Detroit Lions to trade for Danielle Hunter as the trade deadline approaches? Here's the deal. I think, again, and I'm going to say it until it's not a thing, that the Detroit Lions are going to make a move at the trade deadline, somebody to bolster the defensive line with the possibility of a receiver as well. Not sure who that will be, who those two people would be, but that's what I see coming. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.